Hi everyone, welcome to End of the World Weekly. Let me tell you how this show works. I'm Newsbot 29000. I'm a robot from the post-apocalyptic future. I've been programmed to send these broadcasts into the past in hopes that you Earth humans can avoid all the calamities that led to the end of the world. Okay, got it? Good. So let me tell you about some of your current events and how they spiral out of control and bring about the apocalypse. The war of words really heated up between the tiniest dictator and the toddler-in-chief this week, with both crybabies threatening to eliminate the other with nuclear weapons. Luckily for Trump, the leader of the hermit nation understood that any real attack would end with his country's annihilation. And lucky for Kim Jong-un, Trump couldn't find North Korea on a map to nuke it. A large group of white supremacists descended on Charlottesville, North Carolina this weekend to hold a rally protesting the removal of a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Airbnb took a stand against the hatred by disabling the accounts of anyone they suspected of being a white nationalist looking for a place to stay in the small town, leading to some tech-savvy racists creating an app just for like-minded individuals called Air Bigot and Bigot. Airbnb shutting down the racist accounts was good news for decent human beings, but bad news for Claire and Donna Witterman, whose liberal views were at complete odds with the bigots visiting the town, but whose poor vacation timing and unfortunate last name led to them losing a reservation they had made weeks in advance. And that brings us to our Alternative Facts of the Week segment. Let's get started! Alternative fact number 1. The FBI conducted an early morning raid on the home of Trump's former campaign chairman Paul Manafort last week. Reporters believe the raid was in connection with Robert Mueller's Russia investigation, but actually, the Bureau had just learned about Manafort's bomb-ass breakfast burritos, and in an enormous step of government overreach, demanded some. Alternative fact number 2. A Russian spy plane flew over the eastern United States on Wednesday, including the New Jersey golf club where Trump was vacationing. The plane didn't have any weapons on board, but instead was loaded with Russian sex workers that had to parachute to the grounds under the cover of night to deliver fresh urine to the toddler-in-chief. Alternative fact number 3. A senior programmer at Google was fired last week for writing what was being called an anti-diversity manifesto. The author blamed the lack of women in tech on women being biologically inferior to men, while level-headed humans blamed his writing the manifesto on not getting laid in a long time. That does it for this week's segment of Alternative Facts of the Week. If you have any alternative facts you'd like to hear on the show, leave a comment below and we'll talk about them next week. In response to Congress levying new sanctions against Russia, the Kremlin expelled 755 United States diplomats and staffers from the country. Trump personally thanked Putin for the cuts, saying, "I want to thank him because we're trying to cut down on our payroll." Money that Trump planned to use to pay for the Trump Organization to run the country for him so he could focus on his golf game. Well, that does it for this episode of End of the World Weekly. Thanks for tuning in and I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to tune in again next week when we'll have a brand new episode. Thanks again for watching. Bye!
Delicious.